What's going on, y'all? It's your boy DameSmiff, and I'm here to quickly chat with you guys about a little bit of the things that's been going on in the music industry. So if you guys are interested, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You know the deal. You've been here before. Let me know in the comments if you have been here before, and if you're new here, also let me know. Now, today's topic, as you've seen in the title below, is kind of how the industry plans on moving forward when it comes to the effects of, let's say, like the Super Bowl or many of the other big moves that are happening in the industry. And I want to take a moment for artists to really think about how it's going to affect themselves as individuals and maybe the camps that they work within. So if you take a look at what's been going on with the Super Bowl, obviously the big talk was the halftime show. Kendrick Lamar reaching 100 million monthly subscribers or listeners on Spotify, breaking all these different records and things like that, right? The key thing you want to remember as an artist is what that's doing is it's creating opportunity for real estate when it comes to the brand that Kendrick Lamar, or maybe people affiliated with the brand that he works with. It's creating real estate for them in the future and as well as currently. So how does that work, and what does that actually mean for like new artists and artists trying to get involved in the music industry? So what that means is you're going to see a shift in how people approach the creation of their music. You're going to see a shift in how people market their music now. So if you take a look at maybe like any of the hit songs from the halftime show, you'll notice they're very dance oriented, a lot of movement, a lot of grooving. So a lot of the emo rap, the emotional rap, the drug rap, the slow-mo rap, it's gonna kind of move to a different lane as far as being mainstream. And you won't see the effects immediately. It's gonna be something that's gonna grow over time, because a lot of artists have to kind of get into their own sound or find how they fit into the new sound. So going forward, that's my prediction, is that there's going to be a lot more music that's going to push the groove, push for rhythm and dancing and movement and things like that. Now, what does that mean for you as an individual? It means that if you are an instrumentalist, this can play a role in how you write. If you are somebody who's more involved in things like vocalists, MCing and things like that, you got a lot of options when it comes to figuring out how to get the fundamentals back on stage. And so there's an opportunity there, but that's only literally because of the real estate granted by the opportunities that maybe the great artist at the time is taking advantage of. For us right now, it's Kendrick Lamar, but you can see this happen in generations before us. And so many of the things that I'm going to try to give you opinions on in this video is simply just to be how you can take advantage of these things. So one of those things is to take advantage of the sound, the rhythm, the overall shift in attraction to certain sounds and things like that. So pay very close attention to that. And the next thing you want to get into is understanding collaboration. There is a lot of collaboration that's going on right now, but if you are an artist that likes to collaborate, it's one thing to just do the act of collaborating with an artist, but it's another thing to try and be intentional, right? Similar to like getting a girlfriend or getting married or things like that, right? When you approach her, you want to think of like the end result. Like, how do you want this result to end or resolve, right? So if you plan on just doing like a quick song with an artist, that'd be like a hookup. But if you plan on doing an album, that would be like a long-term relationship. But if you plan on locking in together as far as like, creating an actual sound together and going on this journey, that's more along the lines of a marriage. And so when you put it in that perspective, you can kind of think about, okay, who do I want to work with, and why do I want to work with them? And what benefits do I get with working with them, and how can I help them? Because if you don't help them, then you're really not with someone that's beneficial. You're really just taking, right? And that's going to eventually harm you because you're taking from what they have. And so moving into the summer, you're going to have to really think about that, especially if you're a collaborative artist. Some artists, they don't really need it, don't prefer it. But if you're an artist that wants to work with people, just making music with people for the sake of making music is not intentional. It's not going to be beneficial, and it's not going to help your career when it comes to intentionally taking steps that you want for your career, right? And so there's a lot of artists that we've enjoyed where they made a lot of music, and then in hindsight, they're trying to play catch up with all the business, right? And that's kind of problems you want to avoid. And with what we've seen with the Super Bowl and many other big artists like that, you'll notice that the partnerships that they develop, the relationships that they nurture, they're all very, very tight knit. Everybody's on the same page. If there is any issues, the first thing that's taken is always going to be honesty and integrity. If not, it's going to be high on the list, right? And that's key if you do want to have these kind of big impactful movements in the music industry. You don't want to have a team of individuals, a genre of individuals, or even like a culture of individuals, because you won't necessarily be able to unify on one issue and actually solve that issue and then move to the next one. There would be too many perspectives on the issue to actually, fix it. So when you're thinking of how can I make this work for me as an individual, the real key, the real answer to it is you got to be the benefit. Like you have to be the one that has the skill and the talent, or the work ethic, the social skills. You gotta know the game. You gotta be smarter than everybody, but at the same time, you have to respect the reality that other people are useful, and they're useful to the point of you need them. That's what I mean. Like you want to be around people that are pushing you better, maybe are already better than you, or they're on the same page to be better. If you're with people that are comfortable, you're not really going to progress as far as being intentional. You can progress slowly if you guys are, comfortable with some level of being productive. But in general, if you want to compete with somebody that's getting 100 million monthly listeners, then you're going to have to really hone in and hunker down as far as like a strategy and what people you're working with. It's hard to think about that when you're in the middle of things. Like if you're an artist right now and you're thinking about trying to create or maybe get a grasp on everything that's going on right now, and that's going to be something that you have to figure out on your own, and you have to figure it out in a timely manner. But it's something that once you do figure it out, it's kind of easier to understand what step to take next, and it brings clarity, and it kind of like slows everything down and makes things easier. Another thing you want to think about too as an artist is the general world stage and how things are changing, right? And so as you see, a lot of executive orders and laws and things like that are being changed, but this does mean that how everybody is looking at business will change. It means that how everybody is looking at employment, income, cost, labor, and all these things, it's going to change, right? And so you can take advantage of this similar to how musicians have done it before, where you can jump into different industries that invite your talents and your skills. So if you're a musician or an MC, obviously you got like public speaking and things like that, but you can also get into the creation, the innovation of music, and that's going to be, I guess, the more niche perspective when it comes to the music industry going forward, because as you can see, it's easy to make music. And when I was getting into making music professionally, the biggest complaint at the time was that everybody was easily creating music with like loops and samples and easy digital audio workstations and things like that. Now people who don't even need to understand that can just have a machine create an entire song for them, and the only thing they really have to think about is actually putting all these songs in some kind of medium for us to listen to, like TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, right? And with the use of AI, it speeds all that up. So now the real value for the music industry is going to be people who can create, and people who can create authentically and use originality. And that goes back to my first point, being that if you know that the trending sound is moving a certain way, if you know that a certain, let's say, an artist is taking up most of the real estate, that actually creates an opportunity. But you have to be able to see it, and you have to be able to take advantage of it in a way that will be long term, right? You can strike while the iron's hot and get something quick. That's what we saw with ringtones back in the day. Everybody was selling ringtones, but it's not something you want to spend a lot of energy on. And that's something to think about when you're a smaller artist or a smaller group or smaller ensemble. You don't have the affordability to try to jump on a trend when you need to be building your own like kingdom as far as a sound and genre. So if this was interesting, let me know, and I will be making more videos like this. I will see you guys tomorrow night with a video like this, and make sure you're subscribed here and like the channel. And if you're a musician, let me know in the comments. We'll check out some of your music, and if you're dope, we'll let you know. If you're whack, we'll let you know. So we're out. Peace.